Hello and welcome back to Crafty Concepts with Erin. Today we're going to talk about alphabets and different ways you can use them. This is the Brushed Alphabet by Close to My Heart, and this is a large stamp set. They call this an E size because there's two components. I will also be incorporating in my project today this teeny tiny type, and yes, that is the name of it, teeny tiny type. Alphabet stamps may not be all that exciting when you're perusing through a new catalog, but they are truly a tool that everybody should have. This is a collaboration with the creative design team. There's 8 of us participating, so that's a lot of ideas to put into your toolbox. I'm starting with the scrapbook layout, and I'm going to show you how to build a title on this page using stamps. But then stay tuned to the end because I have a really cool card project using these stamps as well. To save time, I pre-cut these cardstock pieces, and I've showed you there that I went ahead and took a nail file and sanded them, and then my edge distresser to rough up the edges. Since we're just using cardstock, I really wanted to add a lot of character. The colors I'm using, starting from the top, is the dark side of charcoal, the light side of nectarine, light side of charcoal, sapphire, and then the dark side of nectarine. That makes it sound bad. Shall we say the darker shade rather than the darker side? Anyway, I've gone ahead and pre-mounted my brushed alphabet onto my block. You'll notice I turned my Versamat over, and that's because there's foam on the back, which helps you get a clearer impression when you're stamping with clear stamps. So we've spelled out the word smile, and I've stamped that in nectarine ink to coordinate with my nectarine cardstock over to the left. I'm going to repeat that with the charcoal. Again, charcoal ink, charcoal on the left. I think you guys are catching on to what I'm doing here. And I don't have the sapphire ink just yet. This is an old retired color. This is Moonstruck, but it's very similar. And so we're going to stamp this guy on the bottom here. My goal was to have the title be a big part of the design on this page. So I've spaced these out so that they span the length of my photo. And now I'm going to go in and add the phrase, "You make me smile," with the teeny tiny type. I do have to add the me portion after because I've already used the M and the E in the word make, but it's very easy to line up. Combining different font sizes and styles really adds a lot of visual interest to your title. I'm going to bring in some embellishments, and I've created some stitched hearts from the Stitch Heart dies, and also there's little heart die cuts here from the I Choose You stamp. Now this little, it's a cowgirl thing, is no longer available, but there's this little I Love My Horse stamp, so I'm going to do a little tone-on-tone stamping, and since there's several layers under there, I thought I better put a little foam cushion. And this is the nectarine ink, so it's just going to be a subtle look, but we'll have this little I Love My Horse on there, which is obviously very appropriate for this layout. So I want to be sure to incorporate the same patterns both above and below, so I'm making sure to place those accordingly, and then we can just fill in with the small little hearts around our main hearts there. The pattern paper I took from scraps left over from my different mix-in paper collections. So I love how everything coordinates and the color schemes match, so everything works and you can utilize those scraps. I, of course, want to add a little splatter. I have all that white space, so here is my Sapphire Shimmer brush. I've put down my all-purpose mat just so I can easily clean up my mess. I'm protecting the area I don't want splattered with just regular printer paper, and so then I'm going to turn it around and do some in the lower portion as well, and I'm just tapping this. You want to get a little color flowing, and then you'll get bigger dots there. And now I'm going to add a little bit of splatter in the middle on the left hand side, so we kind of have a visual triangle with those splattered areas there. So see, nothing really comes out, but yeah, I need to give it a squeeze. Give it a squeeze, get it flowing, and then we get some nice, different, varied size splatters. This is our new tabs and tags thin cuts, and I want something a little bit more on this right-hand side. So from our Blue Skies stamp, it says Memories to Keep. And so I stamped that down and cut it out, and now we're going to use these leftover hearts to embellish this tag. And that's helping to balance out that side and all that white space. Then I got this great idea. I saw my white acrylic hearts sitting on my shelf in front of me, and I thought, oh, those are perfect. That'll add some texture to the layout. So these have a little depth and dimension to them. So I'm just putting a few on the both top and bottom of the layout there. And the liquid glass works really well to adhere these. So I'm just going to use the liquid glass and run a little bit on the back side and get those tacked down into place like so. I have the little white word sentiments on the tag up there, and I wanted to balance that out. So from a retired stamp set from my stash, I just have this moment captured, and I popped that up on foam tape, and I'm just gonna put this on the left hand side so you can see how that visually balances and draws your eye through. I'm feeling I want a little more color even still, so I have these scraps left over of the same Nectarine and Sapphire, and I'm tucking them behind this tag, and you'll see it makes a big difference. Funny how these little things can make such a big impact. This definitely balances it and finishes everything, ties it all in nicely. So there's a look at that title. I love the way that turned out and how we were able to coordinate it to our project. So now we're ready to dive into that card. I've gone ahead and used the medium stitched rectangle die. You can see my stitching detail there. And again, we're going to use that brushed alphabet. I'm also going to bring in this Strokes of an Artist. This is great for backgrounds and just adding texture to your project. I've already gone ahead and put one of the skinny Butterfingers here. Hopefully that's not indicative of how this card's going to go. But I have my raspberry ink. And what I'm going to do is some second generation stamping. This pink is very bright, and so we've stamped it off once, and now I put the second generation stamp right onto my project. We want this two of the stamps wide, and now I am going to go over that with first generation stamping with my letter there. I'm going to repeat this process until we spell out the word. So this is the canary. Now the canary is very light, so I'm not stamping this one off, and that's the only one I'm not doing second generation stamping. So we have our E, and we're going to spell out the word hello. Next is my julep color. I'm kind of going with a rainbow color scheme a little bit here. And sometimes if you can't get your stamps straight, lay them down and then pick them up with your block, and they will hold their shape better rather than you try to manipulate them onto the project. So this is Lagoon. Again, we're just repeating the process of stamping off and then our background and then stamping our letter. And then here we have Carolina, and we've spelled out the word hello. So I'm going to mount this on some fun craft foam here just to pop it up and give it some dimension. So I just get this at my local Walmart. And now I'm pulling in a white card base, and this is from the value pack, the white cards and envelopes value pack. We're just going to adhere this right in the center. Now looking at it, I can see that my E is a little bit lower and it's bothering me, but not enough to make me not send the card. I did do a second card, and instead of the yellow canary, I used Nectarine, and I think I like that better. You could even use the teeny tiny type and spell out phrases like hello friend or hello there or anything like that to add underneath, but you can see this turned out really fun. Be sure to check out Carrie Simmons. She is next, and her link is below in the description box there. And for more inspiration, you're going to want to watch this video here. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.